Hi there. Today you're going to learn a little bit on how we utilize and how we position the Pelago offering from the partnership level. So Pelago and substance use management, specialized substance use care that actually works. Typically, you will see your partnership logo here on the co-branded pitch deck. So setting up the stage here and talking about this slide, the goal is to set stage that substance use disorder is something that is all around us and is impacting us in a personal and professional lives. This is a place to tell a story. Sometimes we have some of our Pelago sales reps talk about a story about a family member, someone that they know or within the industry. This is to just really get the conversation moving. Alongside too, we will talk a lot on the slide if you don't have a personal connection, how a lot of times you'll see in the headlines different items about substance misuse or maybe sort of how addiction has risen the last few years. Yes, very straightforward on this slide. So then our next slide, we're going to talk into the lack of the dedicated treatment. So to kick this off, we start to talk about on the left-hand side here of the slide. So it's helpful for employees to understand substance use disorder is really specific to that. So that's the positioning that we will typically use on this slide. We will break down the numbers. About 4 out of 10 U.S. adult workers misuse substances or suffer from SUD. Below, obviously, you see on the bottom of the screen, you'll have the sources, and then in the notes too, we have the math that will break that down that you're able to talk to. So then we'll shift our positioning over to the right side of the screen and talk about why the 97% is so bad for individuals and is so bad for business. It's very costly, so $15,000 per employee. And then depending on the organization of that size, it can increase excessive absent days, and then over 500 individuals will leave because of a substance misuse. We'll talk about the need for specialized, robust care that actually works, which is Pelago, drive down those growing costs and produce a meaningful return on investment, which is clear. Another thing that we like to talk about on the slide is last year in January, the largest substance use disorder study was led in history, and it was by the CDC, and it was published and confirmed to what we believe and know is true. Substance misuse is the top 5 cost driver to medical spend, and medical costs alone are just really the tip of the iceberg. So a lot of times we will talk about that here and just how big of an impact it really has in this play. On the next slide, we like to talk about how Pelago completes the behavioral health strategy. So we will point the line of sight to the right side of the screen and talk about how you may have your EAP and your mental health provider, your health plan, community resources, and how Pelago fits into that puzzle piece as being the dedicated substance use management provider. So obviously you'll see and you'll walk through those counterclockwise there as the puzzle pieces. So the big points across this screen and this slide to get the point across here would be by radically rethinking the treatment delivery model, our virtual clinic overcomes the challenges of traditional treatment programs in 3 specific ways. So the first item is we have revolutionized access to treatment. We are the only substance use management virtual clinic with a nationwide reach that is scaled to reduce waiting times from weeks to hours, regardless of the location of the member. So 2 big pieces there that Pelago prides himself on. We are nationwide, so we are in all states in the US. And then traditionally what you'll see in a regular care model is about a 3-week wait or about 21-day wait. Pelago has same-day appointments on average of 4 to 6 hours would be the wait time of what we're seeing right now. The second item is we have significantly reduced the cost of treatment. So by reducing these inpatient and intensive outpatient utilization, we can reduce costs by over 75% for many members. So think about that traditional outpatient or maybe a rehabilitation center. We're able to scale that and make sure that the member is a correct fit for the program, but also too, instead of something costing maybe $50,000 or $100,000, they're paying that case rate from Pelago. And then the last item is that we dramatically improve how we measure and achieve clinical outcomes. So because of our white glove approach that Pelago has to drive program success, improving clinical efficiency, Pelago is the first and only substance use management virtual clinic to go 100% fees at risk for our offering. On the next slide here, this is one of our members. Usually we'll slide in a member testimonial, we'll highlight it, talk about it. These are real people, real quotes from them. Then on our next slide, this is how Pelago is structured and set up. So this is what's offered in our digital clinic. So obviously on the list here, you can see all of the options and selections. And this is a little bit about the talk track that I'll go into for this slide. Within a single provider, Pelago provides a complete and specialized solution treating substance misuse and disorders across the three most costly substances for adults and those who are qualified as a dependent. We treat members across all acuity levels with co-occurring mental health conditions. For more complex conditions requiring in-person care, our concierge service will work within your ecosystem to coordinate with the EAP, other in-network providers, inpatient facilities, and primary care physicians. Pelago now delivers the most robust and in-depth set of services within a single solution for substance misuse and disorders, filling a critical gap not filled by any EAP in your market today. We help our clients avoid the challenges of traditional and fragmented strategies and guarantee our outcomes to produce a validated hard dollar return on investment in year one. And then I like to point over to the screen, usually in the pitch deck, it will walk you through a little bit of a screenshot, a mini demo almost, I like to say, of what the platform looks like. The next slide, you may have seen both of these separated. We've now put them together in one, which is very exciting. So we will talk through the support, manage, and treat, which is our care pathways. So you might have seen this slide before, as I mentioned, and to kick this off, we will talk about our support, manage, and treat, which is our care pathways. And to deliver such a holistic and complex set of services, we have developed a simplified model that offers services across the continuum of treatment needs and tailored to the member. So when you're looking at the tiers here, support, manage, and treat, support provides a digital-first experience with unlimited coaching support for our members who may need to quit nicotine or want to explore a safer level of substance use like alcohol. That is just an example. We have members in all three categories. Just a reminder there for you guys. The next scale up is manage. Manage takes all the benefits of support and then adds the care of a licensed drug and alcohol counselor for members who have a more advanced substance dependence. And then last is that treat category, and treat is for cases where a member might need more intensive therapy, complex comorbid conditions are present, and medication is needed to help manage craving. So through this, Pelago has the foundation to continue innovating without disrupting the delivery model, and we will continue to add more value to our clients over time. As across our partners know, we are adding more substances like cannabis, stimulants, other programs like adolescent care and features. So this is something that we like to put into this slide here. And then the other side of the slide, these are our four main pillars of the digital clinic. I always like to say if the audience is going to take anything back today, this is something that you need them to remember, and you want them to really understand the differentiator between Pelago and any other program out there. So how we do this is by cognitive behavioral therapy and then medication-assisted treatment. So there are four core pillars in the Pelago program. It starts with a physician-led care team consisting of our own nationwide network of physicians and NPs who provide telehealth consultation through our platform, supported by a drug and alcohol counselor who delivers psychological support for our members. The next pillar that we like to talk about is remote monitoring. So we measure adherence and outcomes through a set of our remote monitoring devices, including connected breathalyzers for tobacco and alcohol, and then a urinary test kit for opioid misuse. And just a reminder, the breathalyzers for the tobacco and is a separate breathalyzer than individuals who are enrolled into the alcohol program. That is a completely different breathalyzer that we have available to the members. The next pillar, we're going to talk through Pelago RX. We can fulfill prescriptions directly and discreetly to the member's home, or we can integrate with your pharmacy benefit manager and have prescriptions fulfilled at your local pharmacy. The example that I like to use here being able to deliver this discreetly is maybe the prospect or the client that you're talking to lives in a small town, or they have a great professional relationship with their pharmacist, and they are maybe the stigma of substance misuse, or even just like having that relationship in place, they are nervous to go in and receive the correct medication. They can just have this safely shipped to their home. The last item is the personalized technology and support. So this really ties into central to the experience is a curated set of our digital cognitive behavioral therapy content based on the members' own triggers, which they complete on demand and in between counseling sessions, as well as in app tracking and gamification. So the next slide here has a new look. You may have not seen it before, but it talks a little bit about our ROI and then how we stack up next to different ICD-10 diagnosis codes, and then also to alongside with different chronic conditions. So I'll jump in right now. The great thing about investing in substance use management is that there's a strong underlying business case. We know that kicking that can down the road on any chronic condition is incredibly expensive, and that's just as true with SUD as it is with diabetes or MSK. Simply getting an employee or dependent from an uncontrolled substance use into treatment has a dramatic effect on medical costs. To quantify this, we conducted the industry's largest pre/post-match controlled claims analysis, measuring the impact of investing in substance use management across 2,670 participants. What we found was that each enrolled member generated 9,367 in direct healthcare cost savings. And because SUD is either a root cause or comorbid with other chronic conditions, the savings are directly attributable to the top 5 conditions. You commonly see this on your claims report, including GI, MSK, or cardiovascular spend. Also, more than 95% of members who enrolled in the Pelago program were seeing a provider for the first time for their substance use disorder. Rehab wasn't an option for them either due to the lack of stigma or access, despite having baseline healthcare costs 3 times more the population average. Finally, those results were validated by Milliman, a leading independent actuary firm, who conducted a review of the cost savings methodology, assumptions, and savings feasibility. On the next slide, kind of ties in hand a little bit with our ROI piece. So talking about our validated substance use management program. So Pelago Works, we are the first full stacked addiction treatment platform validating in multiple peer-reviewed studies and having a randomized controlled trial. Our outcomes are 2.5 times better than traditional addiction treatment and substantially more cost-effective, whereas our competitors only look at engagement and touch points. We are focused on the outcomes. This gives us the ability to go full at risk in our value-based contracts, and really priding ourselves that we are recognized and accredited by WHO, Legit Script, and the Joint Commission. So additionally, with that being said, we like to say here that we were founded by 3 clinical medical doctors, having personal stories tied to substance misuse within their families or friends. And this is really like the bread and butter of our program. And that is the last slide. Thank you so much for learning a little bit about Pelago today.